Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad we're all here together. This is the year that I am the chairman, and I hadn't met with you personally yet either. So we're all doing remotely. But anyway, here we are. Get it done. Let me read this to you first. Members of the committee are hereby advised of their duty under the State Government Ethics Act to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflict, and are instructed to refrain from participating in any matter coming before this committee with respect to which there is a conflict of interest or appearance of conflict. So if you have a conflict or an appearance of conflict, you just need to say so as we move along through our agenda. And everybody has the agenda in front of them, I'm sure, and the addendum to the agenda. Item number 1 is the report of the committee meeting from July 20th this year. Do we need to vote on that, or is that just something that's on our agenda?
That's just on the agenda as, part of what the materials were. No need to vote on it.
Okay. And then item Roman numeral 2 is under A is the folks that have fulfilled all requirements and are petitioning for an inactive status. You also have 2 more added from the addendum. So we have 66 members that are asking for inactive status and have fulfilled all requirements. Any questions about that? Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved, Jay White.
We have a second.
Second, Catherine Fry.
Okay. Do we need to do our voting that way, or just everybody say approved or not approved?
The preference would be to do with the yes and no buttons on the participants tab.
Okay.
If everyone can find that.
I see yeses coming in.
Yep, we have 17 yeses.
Okay, so it's passed. So we have approved that. Okay, then Roman numeral 2B is one who has fulfilled all requirements but requests inactive date at the end of this year, December 31, 2020. Any questions about that? Motion on that one?
So moved, Jay White.
And a second?
Second, Robert Rader.
All in favor, say yes. All opposed, say no. I'm pretty sure we're going to get yeses on that one.
Unanimous.
Okay, all right. And then we passed on that. Roman numeral 2C. These are requests for inactive status, but have not fulfilled all requirements. And the listing of their requirements is in the right side column. And we have one added, Dottie Newell, from our addendum. So we can have a motion to approve if they comply with the conditions by the January 21 meeting.
So moved, Jay White.
And second. We have a second, of course, somewhere.
Second, Scott Hart.
Second, Heidi.
All in favor say yes. All opposed say no.
Unanimous.
Okay, good. All right. Then we come to Roman numeral 2D, and this has actually 5 of our members listed because we added one from the addendum. The first 4 all have basically the same issue, that they want to be not pro-tunc as at the end of last year, and they've complied with all the requirements and paid all their fees and dues and done their CLE. So in the past, what we've done is just done that as a group, since they're all basically the same, unless somebody has a question about that or wants to separate them. But if you want to do them as a group, I can use a motion for that.
So moved, unless there is somebody that wants to pull out one of the parties. Jay White.
This is 1 through 4, by the way. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have a motion for that. We have a second. Do as a group.
Second,
Okay, we got a group motion. So do we approve or disapprove non-pro-tunc the end of December of last year, inactive status. So if you're in favor, vote yes. Opposed, vote no.
Unanimous.
Let's see. All right, we're going to go to the number 5 of that item, and this is Joseph De Luca. I guess that's the way you pronounce it. Basically, what this one is, he's requesting inactive status, not pro-tunc from last year also, but the difference is that he has not paid his CLE fees from last year like the other 4 people have. So he owes, according to our records, $200 in CLE fees, and I think he's got a local judicial district fee, and he's requesting that we waive the payment of that fee and grant him inactive status at the end of the last year. Now, Deborah Holland could go before the CLE board to see what they want to do about his payment of the CLE or not, or we could just waive it and give him inactive status for all of last year, and ended last year, by the way. So we're not asking him to pay the fees. He actually, according to the records, he actually retired from the state government back in 2014, and as I understand it, never practiced law for the last 6 years anyway. But I guess for a number of years, he did pay all his CLE and dues and everything, even though he wasn't practicing. So anybody have any questions or thoughts about that? And we have a motion on that, either way.
I would say that we grant it once he pays the CLE dues and his local bar dues.
Well, one of the things that we could do is to grant whatever the CLE board would authorize us to do. And then that would be done by, I guess, January of 2021. That's the second item on your agenda there in your amended. It would be to grant current year upon satisfying the noted conditions of the CLE, whatever they come up with.
Yes, I think Everett, what the second one would do would, this committee would be requiring him to pay of the annual membership fees and the 10th judicial district fees, file the form, and then whether or not there's the additional $200 would be determined by the CLE board.
Right, exactly. So is that basically the motion we have?
Yes, that is the motion.
And we have a second?
Second, Rebecca Pomeroy.
Okay, all right. All in favor say yes. All opposed say no. Okay, so on this item, it's really the second item down that we approved,
Correct.
Peter, right? Okay. All right. All right, then we go to Roman numeral 3, which is the petition for reinstatement from inactive status. In other words, people that voluntarily went active now don't want to come back. And we have Roman numeral 3A, and those are actually been reinstated by the secretary. So those items we don't get to vote on. So those are all done. Then we go to Roman numeral 3B, and this deals with fulfilling someone who's fulfilled all requirements, but there's a review by the OOC, and Cameron Lee has some points to make on that, I guess. And this is Deborah Mowry, who I believe is in attendance with us.
We were expecting her. She hasn't shown up in the waiting room yet.
Not here.
Yeah, she's not here. I lost you guys for a second. She's not here right now. Mr. Matanata is here, but I think we could still just do Miss Maury's right now. I think Cameron is here to answer any questions. I'll just give a brief preface. We received this reinstatement petition, and the petition, the reference letters in the petition raised some questions on to whether Miss Maury had seemed to have suffered an accident that was affecting her potential competence, and so we had to have the Office of Counsel take a look into it, and Cameron did, and got some reports from Miss Maury and her providers, and is here to report on that and answer questions.
Yeah, we have an email in our records from Cameron Lee, basically saying that she didn't see any evidence that she has a mental or physical condition that impaired her from being an attorney and practicing attorney. But she could answer any questions. I'm sure Cameron is here and can answer any questions anybody have or wants to state anything that she wants to state.
Jay, do you have a question?
Yeah, this is for Cameron. You know, it seems as though she obviously had a bad accident. You know, based upon, did you have a chance to speak with her? And what I'm trying to figure out is, are the injuries that she sustained something that is a potential concern maybe 6 months from now or a year from now? I mean, are they debilitating injuries? Are they degrading injuries? That kind of stuff is what I'm looking at.
Well, I mean, obviously I am but a humble country lawyer. I am not a neuropsychologist, but from the report I've read, from my interactions with her, from a mental capacity standpoint, there don't seem to be any major reductions in her cognitive functioning. She might have lost 10 IQ points, but I think she had a fairly high IQ to begin with. Most of the concerns raised by the evaluating clinician related to her physical capacity. She is primarily wheelchair bound. I understand that she does move some with a walker. I spoke to her at length about what her plans were. I wanted to know, she's going to do, I think, mostly Social Security related work. And I wanted to sort of get a feel for the physical demands of that sort of practice. She said that it was occasional courtroom work, but that the bulk of it was going to be writing and research. She actually owns the building she'll be practicing out of, and it has been upfitted and is, I think it's sort of been redesigned to accommodate her physical needs. And she tells me that, or she told me that she had a crack paralegal that used to work with her that she's bringing back in. And I think that the paralegal will be able to help with a lot of the legwork in terms of, getting things in for filings. She was absolutely delightful to talk to, though. And so this was an equestrian accident. She rode a horse, or she was riding a horse. And I think what she told me was that, she was taking this horse through his paces and had taken him over some jumps, and that she just pushed him a little too hard. And I share this with you only because I found this particularly interesting. She still owns the horse, and she's been back on the horse since. But yes, my conclusions based on my investigation are that she does not suffer from a mental impairment that would substantially impair her ability to practice law. And I don't see that becoming a problem based upon the evidence that I have going forward. And I do think that she is aware of her physical limitations and knows that if it becomes too much for her physically, she's just going to stop practicing.
Thank you.
Good. All right, any other questions? And you have seen Cameron's email in our records. It says exactly what he just said. It sounds like she's going to be okay. Won't be a problem. But anyway, anybody have a motion to approve or disapprove this?
Motion to approve.
Got a second? Okay, all in favor say yes. Opposed say no.
That's unanimous.
Okay, pass that. Okay, then we go to Roman numeral 3C, and this is the category. This is not fulfilled all requirements and has been inactive more than 7 years.
So Everett, Mr. Matanata is in the waiting room, so I'm going to let him in for this particular one.
Okay, and I'll let him say whatever he wants to say. Is he on here somewhere?
Are you with us? I don't know if he's connected to audio yet, but it looks like his video camera's turned off.
He's not with us yet?
Let me check. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Mr. Matanata, are you able to connect to audio to join us? Well, I think Everett,
We don't have any.
I don't have an audio. What I recommend we do right now maybe is we're to just displace him for a minute. And if we would
We
be
can come
able to
back, but if you
come
want to-
back to him, and maybe if we could handle the bylaw amendments for Nicole, so we can get Nicole out of here if she needs to go prepare for ethics.
Or you want to move to those?
If that's possible, I think that would be great.
We could run down to Roman numeral 6, and we have actually 2 items. One for the bylaw amendments for District 10 and the bylaw amendments for District 20. And the request is whether we approve those or not. Anybody have any questions on those?
And Nicole McLaughlin, our district bar liaison, is here to report on those or answer questions.
So I've reviewed both sets of bylaws and they do comply with our rules and with the statute. If you'd like me to run through what the changes were, I'm happy to do that.
I'm okay with that. We can just go ahead and vote on it if you want to.
Motion to approve, Jay.
For both of them, is that for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion to approve for both. Got a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say yes, all opposed say no. So that means you're out of here, Nicole.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Nicole.
And
All right.
it looks like Mr. Matanata has been able to join us via audio.
Okay.
Hi, guys. Welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Mattinato, this is Everett Thompson. I'm the chair of this committee. Let me just say a couple of things, and then I'll let you say whatever you want to say. As I understand it, Mr. Mattinato was licensed back in 2011. He actually went inactive voluntarily in 2013. That was in April. And then, of course, 7 years has gone by since April of 2013. And in September of this year, he petitioned to be reinstated. The basic rules, of course, we have is that if you're out for 7 years, you got to go take the bar exam. He has tried, he's actually apparently already started taking some CLE, and the records we have is he's done 21.75 hours of CLE to try to reinstate himself. I mean, if he had done his petition for reinstatement before the 7 years was out, it would just be the CLE hours. But coronavirus may have had an issue with him delaying that. But anyway, Mr. Mattinotti, would you like to speak to us? You're more than welcome to do so.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction as well. As you stated, everything that you said is accurate. I'm asking now for relief from having to resit for the bar exam. The coronavirus has impacted me, as a lot of people, I'm sure. My day-to-day now consists of running a restaurant that I took over when my father passed away. That is the reason that I went inactive, and it's proven just too much for me to keep up with CLEs and manage the restaurant up to this point. I think the coronavirus made me realize how important my license is and how much I need it back in my life, and that's why I'm asking for relief now to have a little bit more of an extension to get my CLEs completed.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Any further discussions about this?
Rich?
I have a question. It's just for the general members of the committee. Have we ever waived the requirement that someone sit for and pass the bar examination after they've been inactive in excess of 7 years?
You know, I'm trying to think, Rich, it doesn't come up very much to this committee where we've had that request. One, because that rule took 7 years really to become something that we would ever cross our desk. And we had to give it time because it was effective only when that rule was adopted for anybody who went inactive after that time. So I don't think we've had to make a decision on waiving it. I will say that we've taken the stance this year that we are all in unprecedented times. And so, you know, if there's a time for that, where I would be less worried about establishing a precedent, it would be right now because of the extenuating circumstances of the times we're in. But that's, you know, certainly up for the committee to decide.
Any other
Thank you.
questions or discussions about that? I mean, frankly, if he had filed it maybe 5 or 6 months ago, we wouldn't be talking about this. So that's sort of the issue here, I think, for us.
Right. That and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anybody speak wants to go ahead.
Jay has his hand up.
Yeah, Peter, I've been trying to rack my brains to try and figure out what sort of slippery slope we're getting on if we were to waive this, number one, and tongue in cheek, I wish I could have gotten a waiver in 1991.
No, I understand, Jay. I think it is a concern that are we establishing a bad precedent where we are not setting a hardline rule. But I'm also cognizant of that fact that 5 months ago was a pretty incredible time for all of us, especially those that were trying to run a business. So, you know, it's hard to take the heart out of this one, but I do see your concern.
Mr. Chairman, I'm ready to give you a motion if you're ready to get one.
I'm ready.
I would approve upon completing CLE hours and paying fees prior to January 2021. And what I would, as a point of discussion or a point of reference, is I do think that it's important to understand if this ever happens going forward, what are the conditions at that point in time and how promptly did the person request a reconsideration, so to speak, after the 7 years has expired. Certainly if we're 10 years down the road or 8 years down the road, it would be a different situation than 7 years, 5 months.
Well, yeah, I think we have some movement we can do in the future, obviously, if we approve this, but one step at a time for y'all.
I'll second it.
Got a second on this motion that he complete all his CLE and dues by January 2021. Okay. All in favor say yes. All opposed say no.
No.
Everett, that's 16-3.
All right, it's passed on. Mr. Matanetta, you've got lots to do between now and January, I can tell you that.
Thank you greatly. I'll get it done.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now we go to Roman numeral 4. Well, I guess we haven't done Deborah Mowry, and she hadn't showed up, has she?
No, but we did. We already did approve her. We did.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm sorry. Never mind. All right, we're in Roman numeral 4, reinstatement, and this is petitions for reinstatement from suspended status. Now, the first item is Roman numeral 4A, and that's already been reinstated by the secretary. So we don't.
Everett, if I could interrupt you real quick. Alice, did you have your hand up for something?
I did. And Everett, I hope you don't mind me just making a comment. I guess as the former counsel to the administrative committee, I have a little bit of perspective on it. I would suggest that you follow up on what Jay has asked with regard to, like, let's make it very clear why the exception was made. Because otherwise you're going to be you'll get inundated with exceptions, I'm afraid, requests for exceptions. I think that my recommendation would be that you have Peter very clearly specify everything that took place. And I gather the young man was prompt in requesting a waiver. I think the COVID-19 is such a unique circumstance that needs to be recited. I just think we need to be in a position where if you get a request like this in the future, you can say, well, you're not the same thing. You're different for these reasons. So you could give Peter the authority to do that and then approve it at the next meeting in terms of the list of the conditions.
I agree with that. Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Good. Thank you, Alice. Okay, back to our list here. We just we went through Roman number 4A because we don't have to vote on that for Clifford Loon. And we got Roman number 4B, and these are reinstatement from suspension who have fulfilled all requirements, but they were suspended more than 12 months, but they've done everything they had to do to be reinstated. So anybody have any questions or discussions on that? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
This is for Benson and Tam Wing.
Yes, Roman number 4B, yes, to Benson and Tam Wing, yes.
I think I heard a motion. I would second it. Jay White.
Okay, motion second. All in favor say yes. All opposed say no.
It's approved.
All right, so now we move to Roman number 4C, which we discussed before a couple of times. This is Jonathan Spence, who has been deferred from our July meeting, and his petition's under review by the OOC. It could be that Cameron Lee has some more comments to make on that. I think Cameron had seen more evaluations recently than we had in the past, because we've had an issue with him having psychological problems to be reinstated. Plus he owes money and CLE, that sort of stuff. But Cameron, have you got anything you want to comment on about this?
Yeah, and I'll try not to talk as fast and say as much this time. And sort of anticipating the question that Jay asked with respect to Ms. Mowry. So Mr. Spence was reevaluated by a doctor from Charlotte named Keith Ganchi. This is the second evaluation in 3 years. And he did note what he referred to as a mild cognitive disorder, but he hadn't noted any deterioration since the previous evaluation. But I called Dr. Ganchi, we talked on the phone for a while, and he said that he believed that there were no major barriers to Mr. Spence's cognitive functioning. And he noted that on all the metrics used to assess Mr. Spence's mental acuity, his scores ranged from low average to above average. So while he did take a hit as a result of having a portion of his brain removed, because this all stems from a tumor that was discussed or observed, I think, in his right frontal lobe, he's still scoring in the average range to above average range. He did note that there were some I guess mild to minor issues with his abstract reasoning, and that in some respects his capacity for scheduling had been impaired. He noted that Mr. Spence wasn't always as responsive communicating with him, and maybe had some difficulties maintaining his schedule. But again, everything we discussed was this is a mild disorder. There are no major barriers to cognitive functioning. I think this coupled with, and I don't know, I think I updated y'all on this in July. I spoke to Mr. Spence's former employer, and after he had this surgery, he was out of the office for a few months, went back for a month on a reduced workload, and then went back to work full time. Ultimately, he lost his job because his position was made redundant when the company he was working for was bought out by a bigger company out of Chicago. But his former boss said that he worked a full load and that he didn't have any issues handling that load while he was still employed. I think that the evidence does point to a mental, there being a mental disorder, but I do not believe that I can say that we have, or that disorder significantly impairs his ability to practice law.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Well, we've been through this several different meetings because we didn't have the latest report. I think the report we had from before was back 2 years ago. So now we're more current. Anybody have any questions about that? Any other discussions we have about this? He's got some fees to pay if we approve it though, obviously. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion on fulfilling the conditions, the payment of the fees and dues. This is Eddie.
This would be the first item on our list here. Approve upon a fulfillment of noted conditions by the January 21 meeting. Is that the motion? Yep. We have a second.
That's the motion.
Have a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor say yes. All opposed say no.
Unanimous.
Okay. All right. Now we're moving to Roman number 4D. And this is a request for reinstatement, then immediate inactive status. In other words, it's like one step forward, 2 steps back, I guess. But it's Sterling Spanhauer and owes $720 plus $26 in district fees. And then would be, if pays all that money, then would go inactive.
Mr. Chairman, I see that it's Judicial District 26. Is that correct? Not $26 in
I'm
fees.
sorry. Well, don't get my emotional issues out of whack here now. Yeah, Judicial District 26, fees of $720. That's right.
I would approve reinstatement, then immediate inactive status upon fulfilling noted conditions by the January 2021 meeting. Jay White.
All right, we got a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor say yes. All opposed say no. Or vote no. All right, now we come to Roman number 5. This is petition for a pro bono practice for out-of-state lawyers. It's got a list of those, all 7 of them. Any thoughts about that? Any discussions?
Motion to approve.
All right, got a second.
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 All right, all in favor say yes. All opposed say no.
Passes.
All right, then we go to B of that, and that's Pisgah Legal Services, basically the same thing. Who people have fulfilled all the requirements for out of
Motion to
state.
approve.
Second.
Second.
All right. Everybody vote yes in favor, vote no. Okay, we've already, that's passed, right?
Yep.
We've already done the bylaws. And now we have, we'll have the request issue notices to show cause and suspension orders. And you have those lists in your records. Do we need to approve that? Anybody want to vote to approve that? We have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second. And we have a second. So yes, in favor, no, against it.
Second.
Oh. All right. We're good to go.
So yeah, that motion passes. And as Tammy will always say, we're gonna continue working on this list to get the names down before it has to be published again later this week. And there are names by judicial district if we're going to encourage counselors to reach out to them. If the names have an asterisk or something on them, then you don't have to reach out to them. We're already doing so. Did I miss anything on that, Tammy? I got you muted.
Okay, so, hey, I think you covered everything, Peter. What we'll try to do, maybe shortly or early next week, if it'll be helpful, we could maybe email a new list to all the counselors. And that way, because every day we're removing a few every day. So if it would be helpful, we can certainly do that. We'll just, early next week, we'll pull another list and and send it, and it'll be in the same, by judicial district, so it'll be easy for you to review.
Okay, so we've completed our business. We will adjourn. And I thank everybody for showing up and appreciate your help.
Thanks, everyone.
Y'all take care. Be
Thank
safe.
you.
Everybody be safe. Take care.
Good to see